Yo, what's good? Everyday superpower. We're talking about touch today, so for a change, we are talking about body language, non-verbal communication, and everything in between. So, peace to you out there. Oh, so we're talking about the first touch today. All right, we're going to talk about attraction, building and establishing relationships. Are they interested in me? Are they not? So, the first touch could quite potentially be likely to seem accidental. I'm sure we've all experienced it. It sparks question and wonder in your mind. Did they mean to do it or not? And I suppose this is both for men and women, although, you women can read men like books. You know very well whether something was intentional or not. For the most part, all right? For the most part. Now, as far as men are concerned, we're dumb dummies. We're dumb dummies. We don't know. We don't know, all right? So, a woman... I know someone, yeah. The woman is no longer present as far as she's moved away. She was only here briefly, but my mate used to always laugh because when she would move around in a room, she would find a means to move past him, squeeze past him, to the extent where she would literally rub her breasts upon his back and so forth. And that was just quite funny to us. Obviously, there was no need to go into a deep depth as to why and so forth. We didn't philosophize on it. We just had a laugh about it. But is there question to be had? Now, this woman was in a relationship, but you know, she could have avoided doing that for the most part. She could have avoided doing it. If you really want to avoid doing something, let's say we're in London or New York and we're in the tube, which is rammed full of people. If you don't want to do something, you won't do it, right? So let's say you're a man and there's a bloody kid, right, beside you at your bloody genital height, right? You as a grown man who isn't a wrong'un, you're going to go out of your way to avoid connection to that extent. So why would a woman not to somebody who she deems repulsive? You see where I'm coming from? So when you need to question things, just look at it for what it is. All right, I've done a video which was quite successful in regards to attraction versus repulsion. If she's not repulsed and she's going towards you, physically touching you, she might be attracted to you, or at least she is attracted to you. Now, depends on what you conceptualize attraction as, right? So let's have a think about this, right? How would somebody do it? So we've just spoken about a woman brushing past a man, right? Feeling comfortable enough to do so, all right? Trying to incite a response, albeit maybe not, so bold that it becomes something, because she might have a partner but she might just want to have fun, right? We can't put that past people. That's just how people are, unfortunately. You know, you got to let it be, all right? So delving off into another realm, yeah, if you're an insecure person and you think your partner's your be all and end all, and you would absolutely cry at the idea that she would potentially flirt through one means or another to somebody else external to your relationship, you have to get a grip and understand that as long as she's not going past your perimeters or past a societal boundary, although society is trying its best to push things further and further, you should feel secure, because that insecurity is actually going to end up ruining the relationship after all. You can't stop people from, communicating with each other in particular ways. That's just, we're animals. You just have to suck it up, yeah, not give a fuck about it, to be honest. So, a woman is reaching over to someone to grab something and she just happens to touch him, all right? Now, on a side note, you can pay attention to how long this touch sort of prolongs, because there may be a test of sorts to see as to whether you move away or stay in contact, and it might not be a conscious test unless they are comfortable with the touch, because this is where I project my own psychology into the mix, and I say, me growing up, I wasn't necessarily around a family unit that engaged in touch to such a high degree. So even to this day, me as a person, I find it quite hard to reach out and touch people in that manner. I'm not a very touchy-feely person. I do enjoy receiving it, but I can't really go out of my comfort zone to do it as easy as some people might, right? So we can move onwards and say, as far as the first touch is concerned, we can extend our bodies, creating a touch, but through a third party object or material object as opposed to our literal bodies. So a woman may hand her purse over to you. Oh, do you mind just getting something out there for me? You know, which is symbolic, and the transition of touch is engaged. When somebody is in prison, let's say there's a prison guard and a prisoner, prison guards are taught you don't want to hand them over a pen even when they ask, so, oh, can I have a pen? Because that engages the transactional principle of giving stuff over and creating a bond and a relationship that is deeper than is necessary within that particular environment. So if you take that out of the prison and into the workplace and so forth, if I feel uncomfortable and haven't touched you physically at this moment in time, I could maybe establish this connection by creating this bridge of energy from me to you through this object. If I hold one end of a tool of sorts and hand it to you as you take the other end, the transition has been completed. All right. Yo, I was doing driving tests when I was younger, yeah, and I was learning about all this stuff, and I tried to seduce one of my driving instructors, who was a woman, yeah, by the way, and I say that purely as most of them are men. So I was childish in doing so. Yeah, I shouldn't have been doing this, but I was learning a few bits and bobs, and I thought I'd make it make sense and created establishment. I went out of my way to do so because we'd do paperwork and so forth, and I'd hand it over to her and so forth. And I mean, I would target all the senses before coming out. I would just give it a light little spray of, you know what I mean, something that reminded her of me, such as my scent. You know what I mean, my deodorant, not deodorant, but like aftershave I was wearing at the time. The money I would hand over and stuff, I'd do that. And to put a long story short, you know, it did work. You know what I mean? These little things do build up into great responses. So handing objects over where it's inappropriate to physically touch or you feel uncomfortable to touch, you can utilize that as a way of creating connection, like literal physical connection. All right, we would call that a body extension, right? And I mean, when we're speaking of a woman's purse or handbag or so forth, that's her personal belongings. In a way, you are handling and taking ownership over a piece of her, given it was given to you. You know, you have ownership over what's hers, such as she has ownership of what's yours. If you, that was a funny way to say yours, right? But I'm rambling. So if you were, as such as she would have ownership of what's yours, if you gave her your car keys to say, do you mind just putting that in the boot for me, you know? She takes her your keys to your car, two possessions in one. You have showcased trust for her to do so. She has opened up the boot, put your objects inside of the boot, in essentially taking an order to do so in a submissive manner. And you know, you could approach that from so many different perspectives and sort of philosophize on it a minute, right? So where do we go from here, yeah? When one is on a date, first date, it's not uncommon to brush feet against each other, to maybe, after a couple of drinks at the least, touch hands with one another. Maybe, you know, definitely after a few drinks, and she is wearing a bracelet which has been worn to attract attention and showcase her personality and, you know, project her personality a little bit more. So this is my interest. I've chosen to wear this because this is a piece of me. It's very important to me, right? Doesn't lack importance. It's not there for no sake. It's very easy to reach over and fidget with it, as opposed to touching the palm of her hand or her sensitive areas. I mean, you're close to her wrist. You might accidentally rub across the wrist, right? Which will spark some sort of psychological release, yeah? You might have to feign interest in doing so. I mean, we've done so, and she might feign interest in your watch if you're wearing a smartwatch or so forth. If you've worn an eye-catching timepiece, which is utilized as a touch me message. You might not have even known why you've bought that watch, or maybe you have done, right? You have done so to showcase your status and as a byproduct attract women, as you have a high status utilizing this piece of jewelry, and it is now manifesting itself through the touch on this date you are receiving from this woman, right? And have you noticed how they're all around erogenous zones? So the wrists are very sensitive, a matter of life or death. A submissive individual will showcase their wrists. A woman tends to do this in order to, show her trust to the man, as he may be a potential predator. So you will see rolling up of the sleeves in dating situations and, as an act of submission and so forth. As with the necklace, a pendant around the neck and so forth, showcasing the delicate feminine neck and the neck dimple and so forth. All right. Should we go further or should we leave it here, right? I think we'll leave that there, but I am going to continue on this touching topic. I think that's enough food for thought for the moment. I'm going to get myself some food. I'm signing out, so click subscribe and keep things moving. One love, people.